Ukraine belongs in NATO because NATO with Ukraine is the alliance for the future. The alliance of today must be up to the challenges of the modern world. With Ukraine, with the strength of our defense industry.
Okay, so now I'm starting to understand why there's this massive push with all of the chaos going on in the United States right now for NATO. And you see here the guy that I believe that is the real reason this NATO summit is happening. I believe it's the real reason that NATO wants to continue to keep the United States. It's because of Zelensky. It's because of the money machine that Ukraine has now become. It's because of Russia is not a member of NATO, but there's many countries in Europe that want to add Ukraine. And I'm not sure exactly why, other than maybe some of these biolabs that Tulsi Gabbard exposed as being in Ukraine. And it's very important for Ukraine to join because then they're protected, because there's an article in the wording there that if one country, a member of NATO, is attacked, I believe it's Article 5, then all of the other countries are supposed to respond in kind. And that's where I believe NATO is allowing Zelensky to speak. They put him on the platform there, and it's very important for Ukraine to join NATO. I mean, just think about it. The world would not survive without Ukraine and NATO. And this is Zelensky's whole goal right now because it brings so much money. It brings American money. We've talked here in the past how the United States spends $999 billion a year, give or take 5 or 10 billion, right? It's just between friends, on the membership in NATO. And these other countries do not. They do not pay their fair share. I think it's believed to be 4% of gross domestic product. But now we're seeing the real reason that there is a push. This is an article here from Just the News, John Solomon. The U.S. public doubts NATO would aid if the U.S. is attacked. How many of you believe that NATO would actually come to the rescue, would come and help the United States if we suffered an attack? I don't believe they helped in 9/11, 25 years ago. I don't believe they're helping right now in the Strait of Hormuz. I don't believe that they helped with the coal. I don't believe they helped Khobar Towers. I don't believe they helped Benghazi. I don't believe they've helped anywhere when the United States has been attacked. That's just my opinion. But I believe the facts confirm my opinion, and that's where I kind of derived it from. And I'd love to get your opinion. Would NATO help the United States if we were attacked? Before we get any further in this, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so that we stay on the same page. And I am America first. I see no real reason for us to stay in NATO. I can't connect those dots. This is a thing of the past. This was a real important move after World War II, the Axis and the Allies. It was kind of an insurance policy. Well, right now, this insurance policy we've been paying into for a long time, and we haven't really received anything back out of this insurance policy at all. This is a one-way relationship, and it's all money. It's similar to, some of these ladies of the night that Graham Plattner is being accused of, and we'll talk about that in a different video. I want to show you this article, though, because they really bring up some great points here. This is John Solomon over on Just the News. The United States public appears increasingly skeptical that other members would support the U.S. if the country fell under attack. Now, there's a lot of people that would say, and myself included, that what we're seeing happen here in the United States on a daily basis, specifically under the Biden administration, was an invasion. It was a calculated invasion that I believe the World Economic Forum funded. We funded our own invasion. It says overall 43% of adults expressed the belief that NATO would support them in the U.S., while 57% said the alliance would help their country if attacked. What do you think here? because I believe Ukraine is the hinge pin that NATO wants. Ukraine War Latest. This is Sky News, British website here, and they're very pro Ukraine. Look at the amount of money there that's spent. That's 2.8 billion, I believe, the financial value of being a member of NATO. And you can see all these countries here on the wall. And out of all of them, I only really notice, I don't notice any allies right now. None. I don't see any of the countries' flags on the wall helping us if we truly needed it. That's my thoughts, because we've seen over the last couple of months, the last 90 days, what's happened in the Strait of Hormuz, and none of these countries have come to our rescue. Some of these countries, like Italy, like the UK, like Germany, like France, like Spain, have not even allowed us to land our aircraft in their country for our military operations. Does that sound like a good partnership? I can't figure this out, and I'm so glad that the president, the current president, President Trump, is bringing into question, why are we paying for this? Now, Zelensky goes on a little further, and it seems like he is the poster child for the NATO commercial.
I have a question for you. Do you really believe it? Do you really believe it would be right to live outside NATO, a country and a people with this level of defensive capability? If we already have these capabilities, if Ukrainians already know how to fight like this, then it does make sense for these capabilities to become a part of the alliance's collective defense. That would make all of us stronger.
It would also bring all of them to war. He's very selfish, and I don't think you should let a warring country into NATO right now. Get a peace deal. Let's talk about it in 20 years.
And we already see each other as reliable partners, and it would be only natural to become a part of one common security community. The fact is that we will remain next to the source of the problem, Russia, for a long time. Ukraine in NATO is a source of extraordinary defensive capability.
I believe Ukraine in NATO is an excellent source of a way to keep the military industrial complex funded. It's a way to hide some money. It's a way to run some money through some things that get cleaned. You know what I'm talking about. It's called laundry. And that's what's been happening. Goes all the way back to, I would say, the Clintons. I know under Obama that this was all propagated, this was all started. And then the Biden regime, with Hunter being on Burisma, Joe sending a lot of money, $300 to $400 billion just while he was in office. And that's on top of the $999 billion to NATO. We're never going to get any of the money back that we gave to Ukraine. Right now, the president of the United States has quit giving them money and just started selling them things, selling them military equipment. Where they're getting that money from, I don't know. Probably other members of NATO or other countries that are giving them money. And it seems like a damn good operation. I wish I had figured this out much sooner, because it would have been very profitable for me.
I think we're getting much closer than people realize, and President Putin wants it to end. I will tell you that very strongly. What a good call. And President Zelensky actually wants it to end now. And we're going to be going to NATO, and we're going to be talking about it. And I think we're going to get it. I think we're going to get it ended. It's been a terrible situation.
And after pressure from our commander-in-chief, NATO leaders are reportedly planning to, quote, unveil arms deals worth tens of billions of dollars in Ankara today to show they are heeding U.S. calls to spend more to defend Europe. But
that's the big one right there. These NATO countries have to carry their own weight. I'm tired of funding everyone else around the world. It seems like we've been doing it for a long damn time. Too long.
For joining President Donald Trump for a summit. National security and policy analyst for the Heritage Foundation, Andrew Harding, joins me now. Andrew, thanks for coming on to talk about this. I want to talk about what President Trump said in that sound right before we came to you about how they are closer to coming to a deal than people really think and what they realize, saying both sides want to come to an agreement. They want it to end. How sure?
I believe that's the part right there that no one's saying out loud. Russia, Ukraine, I don't know if they really want a deal because a peace deal is not as profitable. You don't get the sympathy. You don't get the barrels of cash sent to you. You don't get all of the aid. Ukraine would actually lose money if they got a peace deal. That's the reality of it. And you can agree with me or not. But if they get a peace deal, if Zelensky gets the peace deal that he wants, or that he says out loud that he wants, all of the funding, all of that money cuts off. When the money cuts off, when the money dries up, how does he get it back? War is very profitable. Very profitable. Ask some of the neocons, okay? Now, there's another clip here talking about what's happening in Iran, and I want to know if NATO is chiming in on this.
All right, straight into an alert. President Trump is set to touch down in Turkey just over an hour from now for the NATO Summit, where he's going to meet with the Turkish president, meanwhile, before gathering with world leaders.
Meanwhile, Iran's military reportedly fired at least 2 missiles at commercial ships in the Strait of Hormuz yesterday.
So they're still doing the same old stuff. Lucas Thompson live in Turkey with the latest.
So Ukraine wants in NATO. Iran continues to do the same old stuff, launching missiles at commercial ships. Where is NATO? Some of these commercial ships are owned by NATO countries, NATO members. Some of the ships are American. Iran attacked American bases in Bahrain, in Iraq, in Kuwait. We are a member of NATO. Where is NATO? I think they're counting their cash and they're sending it to Ukraine. Somebody's getting a little skim off of it and it's coming back. That's the reality. I'd love to get your comments down below. Do you think we should be a member of NATO? Do you think we should pull out and let the Europeans handle it? Do you think we should pull out all of our troops from NATO countries? We have about, I think it's 30 to 50,000, correct me if I'm wrong, troops in Germany. I know we have thousands in the UK, we have thousands in Spain, we have thousands in Italy. There are military bases in about 170 countries. And out of those 170 countries, I don't know how many are really benefiting us. I know we have to keep some troops in some places. I understand that for peacekeeping, for reactionary things. But keeping this many people in countries that hate us, like Germany, like the UK, why? We don't benefit from this. They do. We're propping up their economy. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.